Divine urgency, 3 miraculous steps revealed to you for heavenly transformation today. In a little rural village, where the air danced with the sweet scent of blooming wildflowers, hope was a whisper on the wind. Every Sunday, Clara, a devoted grandmother, took her comfort in the worn pew of St. Agnes Chapel, her heart alight with prayers for her family. The walls, aged and adorned with delicate stained glass, radiated a heavenly glow. The community gathered around her, eager to hear tales of St. Agnes, a beacon of resilience who weathered storms and stood tall, illuminating souls with love and faith. But beneath the joyful hymns floated Clara's silent agony, a submerged sorrow that seeped through their shared prayers. A dark shadow named Jamie, her son, entangled in addiction's dreadful grip. As Clara prayed, fervent and heart-wrenching, she could feel the weight of her worries pressing down on her spirit. She cried out for Jamie, her voice trembling with urgency as she sought divine intervention, believing deeply that even the fiercest storms could be calmed by faith. The flickering candles cast shadows that danced upon the chapel's walls, creating a sacred atmosphere where prayers intertwined with dreams of recovery and hope. But as the community prayed, Jamie remained distant, trapped in disbelief and drowning in self-doubt, convinced that no blessing could reach a heart so caught in darkness. One fateful night, a feverish storm brewed outside as Clara knelt in her humble living room, a flicker of candlelight the only witness to her sacred supplication. As she whispered her heartfelt prayers, the air shifted. A soft glow enveloped her, illuminating the corners of the room with an otherworldly brilliance. In that divine moment, she received a revelation, a vision bestowed upon her by the heavens. 3 miraculous steps were revealed: surrender to God's will, unite in prayer with her family, and serve those in need. Clara's heart soared, and clarity rushed through her like a river of hope. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Filled with divine energy, Clara sheepishly shared her revelation at the community gathering. Let us surrender ourselves to God's will together, she implored, her voice quivering with conviction. Among those gathered, Jamie sat quietly, wrestling with conflicting emotions, shame gnawing at him and a flame of longing flickering deep within. As the community embraced Clara's message, a miraculous transformation began to unfurl. Their prayers carried an unmistakable intensity, illuminating Jamie's heavy heart, breaking through the walls of despair he had constructed. Suddenly, in a breathtaking moment, the atmosphere shifted. Muffled gasps rippled through the congregation as a soft light enveloped Jamie, his spirit awash in warmth. Clara's gaze locked onto her son's face, watching as years of torment washed away, his heart opening to the tide of love surrounding him. The villagers' unwavering faith acted as a catalyst for Jamie's redemption, igniting a once dormant fire within him. In that sacred instant, hope soared, and the bonds of their community strengthened, revealing a powerful truth: the miracle lay not only in Jamie's recovery but in the hearts of those who had prayed, providing a haven for transformation. Clara felt a surge of divine reassurance. They had let love in, yet a question hung in the air like a soft mist. Were they prepared to carry this profound blessing into the world, and what would the new path demand of them? As dawn painted the sky in hues of gold and pink, Clara awoke with a heart racing in anticipation. The warmth of hope wrapped around her like a familiar blanket, igniting a spark of joy she had scarcely allowed herself to feel in years. Her mind drifted to Jamie, and she whispered a prayer, thanking God for the miracle that had unfolded the night before. With a determined spirit, Clara gathered her family to discuss how they might nurture this newfound light. We must share what we have received, she said, her voice carrying a weight of urgency. The world outside is crying for healing, just as Jamie did. Her words rang like a bell, awakening their collective resolve. As they walked through the village, the spirit of transformation flowed through them like a gentle stream. They approached neighbors and friends, sharing stories of faith and hope, igniting flickers of light in every heart they touched. It was a beautiful sight, faces once drawn with despair now blossoming with renewed life. Children played in the streets, laughter mixing with the fragrant breezes, and even the elders, once cloaked in sorrow, began to smile as they exchanged words of encouragement. Jamie, standing among them, felt the weight of his past beginning to lift. Inspired by his mother's passion, he started sharing his own story, fumbling at first, but he spoke truthfully as if his heart were in a delicate dance with his tongue. "I was lost," he confessed before a gathering crowd, "but love found me and it opened my eyes to the light." The villagers listened, captivated, and Clara's heart swelled with pride and gratitude. Days turned into weeks, and the community began to take the miraculous step seriously. They organized gatherings at St. Agnes where people could come together to pray, worship, and support one another. A vibrant spirit of unity blossomed, transforming despair into a collective mission. There was an unmistakable energy, and even the silence felt sacred, echoing with whispers of gratitude. Clara, still feeling that divine nudge, initiated a project serving those less fortunate, offering meals and companionship to the lonely. With every plate they served, their bonds deepened, and people's testimonies intertwined. Life returned to the village in a way that felt like a reawakening. Yet, amidst the joy, Clara often pondered the question that lingered in her heart. Were they truly ready for the challenges that might come from this divine journey? What if adversity sought to test their faith again? Would they stand strong? One evening, as the sun set behind the rolling hills, painting the world in shades of twilight, Clara gathered her family once more. "What if we must endure struggles anew?" she questioned softly, feeling the weight of potential trials. "Are we prepared to face them together?" As they expressed their hopes and fears, a quiet understanding formed among them, a deep sense of commitment that mirrored the courageous love they had experienced. Clara clasped her hands together, feeling a comfort deeper than any doubt. Just then, a gentle wind whispered through the trees, rustling the leaves overhead, as if urging them forward. The village resonated with a divine presence, guiding them into the unknown, inviting them to step boldly into all God wanted for them. But what awaited them on this path of love and challenge? As the stars twinkled above, illuminating their resolve, the question hung in the silence, a beckoning cry to the heart. Would they discover the true power of surrender, or was there more to confront that would unveil the depth of their faith? The days unfolded like a delicate tapestry, each thread woven with purpose and divine intent. Clara and her family embraced their commitment to serve, and with every gathering at St. Agnes, the spirit of love grew stronger. People began to open their hearts, sharing their struggles and victories, and for the first time in ages, hope glimmered brightly in their eyes. Jamie, emboldened by the community's warmth, took on a pivotal role. He began leading discussions for young people, telling his story to those who felt lost, just like he once had. "You're not alone," he proclaimed with fierce conviction, standing in front of a small crowd. "We can walk through darkness together and find our way back to the light." The energy transformed the room, filling it with affirmation and encouragement. It felt like a holy echo, reverberating in the hearts of all who were present, yet amidst the jubilant gatherings, Clara felt a stirring unease deep within her soul. She quietly started to sense impending challenges, a storm cloud on the horizon. One evening, after an inspiring meeting, she caught Jamie's eye and sighed. "What do you think," she asked him, "will happen when the darkness comes to test us again?" Jamie, ever perceptive, quietly pondered her words. "Perhaps it is through these trials that we are meant to learn even more about love and strength," he replied, his voice steady. "We must be ready, Mom. We have to be anchored in faith." As winds of change began to whip around the village, Clara decided to gather the community in prayer. She stood before them, her heart pounding, yet filled with resolve. "Friends," she began, "it is during trials that we truly discover the strength of our faith. Let us be ready." They gathered hands and bowed heads, creating an unbreakable chain of devotion. A wave of peace swept through the congregation. Clara sensed a divine energy rising around them, as if the heavens were holding them close, promising to sustain them no matter what lay ahead. Suddenly, a soft light filtered in through the stained glass windows, casting colorful patterns across the floor, a blessing in that moment. Then, as they sat in silence, the the village bell rang out. Its sound was strangely different, a resonant call that echoed not just through the air, but also into their hearts. Intrigued, the crowd shifted, glancing towards the entrance of St. Agnes. An unexpected visitor stood at the threshold, silhouetted against the twilight glow. It was an elderly man, his face weathered yet wise, radiating an aura of serenity. With a calm yet commanding voice, he spoke, "My dear friends, I have journeyed far to share a message from God. He has seen your efforts and heard your prayers." Gasps rippled through the crowd, curiosity sparked like flame in each heart. "I bring 3 steps for you, vital for the path ahead," his words cascading like the gentle flow of a brook, promising revelation as bright as the first dawn. Clara felt the atmosphere thicken with anticipation. What were these steps? What heavenly insight would deepen their commitment to their faith? The villagers drew forward, hearts open and eager to listen. Clara clasped her hands in prayer, a bubbling joy mixing with childlike wonder. It was the moment they had longed for, the fulfillment of their seeking, but what would these divine steps reveal? As the man began to speak, an uncontainable question filled the air: would they be ready to embrace the profound mystery God had set before them? The elderly man's voice resonated, a gentle yet firm cadence that wrapped around them, drawing their attention deeper into the sacred moment. First, he stated, his eyes gleaming like stars through the darkened clouds, "You must embrace vulnerability." He paused as a soft murmur traveled through the crowd. Clara felt her heart quicken with understanding. "Vulnerability," he continued, "is a doorway to compassion. When you open your hearts fully, you allow others to see your struggles. In sharing, you connect. And in connection, you experience God's love like never before. It's within these honest exchanges that healing begins." As he spoke, Clara thought of the many hearts in their community. So many had worn masks of strength, hiding the pain underneath. Would they be brave enough to lay down their defenses and share their burdens? A flicker of fear flicked through her, a fear of what it might mean. But deep inside, she knew the truth: unity flourished in honesty. "Second," the man said, his voice now stronger, "you must cultivate gratitude, even in hardship." The weight of his words filled the space like a warm embrace. Gratitude opens the eyes to miracles even in the mundane. When darkness threatens, remember all you have. Thankfulness is the antidote. It transforms despair into hope. A wave of emotions washed over Clara. She thought of her family's struggles and how often they had forgotten to be grateful in the midst of their challenges. But gratitude was a powerful balm. It could lift spirits and shift perspectives. A path was forming before them, glistening with potential. Finally, the man said, pausing briefly, his gaze sweeping across the assembly, "You must love boldly. Love one another fiercely, without reservations. In giving love, you will find your hearts grow larger, capable of embracing the world around you. Love multiplies. It fixes broken souls and uplifts those who are weary." Gasps of wonder sparked around the room. Clara felt tears prickling at the corners of her eyes. Love, such a simple yet profound message. She recalled Jamie's words: they had to be anchored in faith, and love was the anchor that would keep them steady. As the man concluded, a deep stillness enveloped them. An understanding took root in Clara's heart. Each step was interwoven: vulnerability led to gratitude, and gratitude blossomed into love. They were stepping stones, guiding their community toward a brighter horizon. The elderly man looked upon them with an expression of deep compassion, waiting for them to absorb the weight of his message. Clara held her breath, her spirit soaring with hope. "Are you ready to embrace these steps?" he asked, glancing from face to face. "Yes." Jamie shouted suddenly, breaking the silence, his voice unwavering. Others quickly joined in, fervently echoing, "Yes." It felt like a rallying cry, enthusiasm building in the air like wildfire, but before the moment could settle, an unexpected disturbance rippled through the back of the church. A shrill voice broke through the quiet, questions laced in urgency. Clara turned to see a young woman pushing her way through the crowd, her face pale and frantic. Please, have you seen my brother? He is lost. Her voice trembled, reverberating through their bubble of faith. Clara's heart sank. Would this be the trial they had spoken about? The urgency of the moment pierced through the newly kindled hope. Would they stand steadfast, embracing vulnerability and love, ready to face this sudden storm together? As the room sat on the precipice of action, Clara could feel the weight of the moment pressing down. What would they choose to do? Would their newfound commitment shine in the face of fear? The room seemed to hold its breath, the tension weaving itself into the very air they all shared. Clara glanced around, noticing the bright eyes of her neighbors, reflecting a mix of concern and determination. They had just pledged their hearts to vulnerability, gratitude, and love, a trinity of strength. Now, it was time to live it. Everyone, Clara called out, her voice firm despite the quaking in her heart, we need to help her. This is our moment to show our love. Her words hung in the air, igniting a spark of urgency among the congregation. Jamie was the first to move. He swiftly made his way through the gathered faces, reaching the young woman. What's your brother's name? We'll find him, he said, his voice steady with conviction. Ethan, she replied, tears spilling down her cheeks. He went out to help a friend, but he didn't come back. Her eyes darted around, searching for someone to anchor her doubts. Clara, can you lead? We need to find him, Jamie urged, looking back at her, his faith unwavering. Clara felt a stirring deep within. The 3 steps they had promised to uphold whispered in her heart: vulnerability would let them connect, gratitude for the good despite the fear, and love pushing them forward in unity. Yes. Let us split up. We can cover more ground that way, she suggested, her mind racing with possibilities. If everyone takes one area, we can call out for him. A wave of agreement surged through the crowd, the call to action infectious. Members of their community began to form small groups, fanning out across the church and beyond. Clara turned back to the young woman, her heart swelling with empathy. You're not alone. We will find him, she promised, pulling the woman into a gentle embrace. It was a moment of connection that spoke of compassion without words, a reassurance that wrapped around them both like a warm, welcoming blanket. As the congregation dispersed, a powerful tenderness settled in the air, dispelling the anxiety that had hung moments before. Clara felt a remarkable joy flicker within her. Moments like this were what made faith tangible. It meant more than just words, it ignited tangible love in the world. The search led them through the church grounds and into the streets, voices ringing out in unison. Ethan! They called, filling the silence with hope and determination. Clara noticed others knocking on doors and checking alleyways, a chorus of love echoing in their urgency as they declared they would not rest until Ethan was found. Hours passed, but despair never fully gripped Clara's heart. Instead, she found peace in the shared purpose, in loved ones rallying around a cause bigger than themselves. They were united in faith, vulnerability grounding them while gratitude shifted their perspective. Then, just as darkness crept in, illuminating nothing but shadows, Clara heard a distant, muffled sound. It was faint, but unmistakable, a familiar voice intertwined with laughter and warmth. They pressed forward, fueled by a renewed feeling of hope. As Clara rounded the corner, there stood Ethan, laughing with a group of friends, relief flooding his face as they spotted him. You found me, he said, his joy undeniable. The community erupted into cheers, hearts rejoicing. In that moment, Clara felt the divine at work, the power of love unveiled, shaping lives and nurturing faith in real time. But amidst the laughter and relief, Clara thought of the journey they had taken to get to this point. What did God want to reveal to them through this experience? As they celebrated a life found, an unsettling question lingered: was this truly the end of their test, or merely the beginning of something greater? And in that profound mystery, she resolved to keep her heart open, ready for what God might still unveil. The celebration surged around Clara like a sacred wave, laughter echoing in the cool night air. As she watched Ethan embrace his sister, she felt a warmth radiate through her. They had witnessed the power of unity, their cries lifted like sweet incense to heaven. Gratitude bubbled within her, a physical sensation, but that gnawing question remained: was this just the beginning? Her heart, still tender from their earlier embrace, longed to explore deeper truths. What if their act of love could ignite a flame brighter than they could even imagine? "Ethan!" Jamie called, now standing triumphantly beside Clara. "You shouldn't just vanish like that. We were worried sick." "I'm so sorry," Ethan replied, still catching his breath. "I didn't think it would take so long to help my friend. I'm glad you're all okay." Clara noticed how their community began to settling into an energy that felt more profound than relief. It was like they had crossed a threshold. "What do we do now?" she thought, her mind racing. Suddenly, a voice broke through her thoughts. It was the young woman, Ethan's sister, her eyes brightening with new awareness. "Can we keep this going?" she asked, vulnerability seeping into her words. "The love you've shown me, we should find more ways to do this." Clara's spirit perked up, the question blooming into 100 possibilities. "Absolutely." She took a step forward, fueled by her faith. "We've seen how strong we are together. Let's create a group and outreach team. We can help others in need, just like we did tonight." The words electrified the crowd, sparking excited murmurs of agreement. Clara noticed the same bright light in every face, as if a divine spark had ignited hope in their hearts. "What if we reach out to those who might feel lost?" one of the elders suggested, his voice clear and passionate. "People struggling with grief, loneliness, or fear. They need our community." Clara nodded, her heart swelling with affirmation. "Yes. We can share our experiences, guide them to show that light exists even in the shadows." A ripple of excitement passed through the crowd as they began to brainstorm, sharing ideas and personal experiences. Clara stood in the middle of it all, feeling deeply connected to each person around her. They moved from the story of finding Ethan to the larger narrative of their community and the struggles waiting beyond. They were rising together. As discussions flowed, an unspoken warmth enveloped them. It was as if angels were whispering encouragement in the night. She could see moments of transformation take shape, love emerging from each vulnerable heart that shared. Clara spoke of the gratitude that sparked their journey, while others added their own insights on the beauty of vulnerability. "Let's call this group the Light Bearers," Jamie declared, sparking even more enthusiasm. "We will shine brighter together, illuminating the darkness wherever it calls." Clara's heart danced, feeling the divine pulse of their connection. But just as the plans began to take root, Clara sensed a tug at her spirit, a gentle reminder of that unsettling question she had felt before. Was this outreach an answer, or just another part of a larger puzzle yet to be revealed? All around, laughter and purpose surrounded her, yet she felt the air shift. What if this venture leads us to face deeper trials? She pondered, the quiet whisper within urging her to keep seeking. The night was still young, and the community buzzed with a newfound mission. Clara suddenly realized something: she needed to prepare her heart for what might come next. With a spirit ready for adventure, she gazed into the horizon, hopeful yet cautious. What would God truly reveal in the journey ahead? Would they find more than they bargained for, stretching their faith and love to new limits? With that thought lingering in her heart, she felt the divine anticipation mount, the promise of something greater just beyond the horizon. The next morning bathed Clara in soft, golden light. The sun poured through her window, and with it came whispers of hope and purpose. She had barely slept, her mind racing with the possibilities that awaited the light bearers. The challenges that loomed felt looming yet beautiful, like clouds pregnant with rain promising to nourish the earth. After a quick breakfast, Clara felt a surge of energy stir within her. Today was a day of action. The community had rallied behind an idea, and it was vibrant with potential. The shadow of doubt she had felt last night lingered still, but she clung tightly to her faith. Whenever she doubted, she remembered how love had woven through their collective story, knitting hearts closer together. She arrived at the gathering spot, a quaint park with soft grass and towering trees. The air buzzed with excited chatter as members of the community began to arrive. Clara grinned, recognizing the familiar faces, each one reflecting a unique aspect of divine grace. Clara. Jamie waved, her smile wide as she approached. I can't believe how many people are here. This is incredible. It's growing more than I ever imagined, Clara replied, her heart warming at the sight of their blossoming community. People began to share stories, ideas flowing like a gentle stream, and Clara could feel strength building in their midst as they prepared to fully embrace their mission. Clara took a moment to listen to the words surrounding her. They echoed with laughter, hope, and plans, but within her heart, she felt a prayer arise. Lord, guide us. May our steps be purposeful. Ethan soon appeared, joining the circle, his presence grounding. So, he spoke with a newfound authority, how do we decide where to start? An elder from the crowd spoke up, his voice smooth yet firm. Let us begin by reaching out to the local shelter. They always need help, and we can bring our warmth there, give joy and comfort to those who feel forgotten. A ripple of agreement washed over the group. Clara's spirit soared as she envisioned lights of love spreading into the darkest corners of their community. But still, a nagging thought echoed in her mind. Let us pray for those in our community first, Clara suggested, surrendering the burden of doubt as she did. We should invite anyone who feels lost, that they may find us as a refuge and encouragement. With heads bowed and hearts open, they prayed. Clara's voice melded with the others, rising in unison, a heavenly blend of supplication and joy. She felt the divine presence wrapping around them, a protective embrace that whispered softly, keep going. As the prayer concluded, something beautiful happened. Clara witnessed a shift in the crowd. Individuals began to share their feelings, revealing corners of their own vulnerabilities. A woman with tears glistening in her eyes spoke about a daughter lost to faraway dreams. A man shared his battle with isolation. Clara felt the power of their stories groaning and stretching. In revealing their struggles, they became united not just in purpose but in their humanity. We will be each other's light. Clara proclaimed, the warmth of love bubbling inside. The excitement bubbled again as they reached out to those in need, planning visits and gathering supplies. Clara sensed the Spirit gently nudging her, urging her to prepare for an unforeseen journey ahead. But what trials awaited the light-bearers? Would their faith withstand the tests that would come with their calling? With every heart that opened, Clara felt a greater anticipation grow, a sacred promise lingering in the air around them. What lay ahead would reveal more than they could imagine. Would they rise to the calls of love, or would the darkness challenge them? Clara couldn't help but wonder, as the horizon shimmered with untold miracles yet to be unveiled. The sun climbed higher, casting its warm embrace over the gathering, as if heaven itself was blessing their purpose. Clara felt a renewed sense of urgency as she surveyed her fellow light-bearers, each face reflecting the light of hope. Every heartbeat served as a reminder of their commitment to stand together. All right, everyone, Jamie shouted, her enthusiasm infectious. Let us not just talk about our mission. Let us bring it to life. Clara's heart soared. Ethan stepped forward, a map spread before him. Here's the plan. We'll divide into teams and visit the shelter, the park, and the community center. Let us spread love everywhere we can. Nods of agreement swept through the crowd, a silent pact forming. Clara felt the swell of excitement in her chest, matching the buoyancy of the sunlit day. Yet, beneath that joy lay a flicker of nervousness. What if they faced obstacles? As if sensing her thoughts, an elder approached, a wise glimmer in his eye. Clara, faith is not the absence of fear, but the choice to trust despite it. His words wrapped around her like a comforting blanket. Thank you, she whispered, the warmth of his encouragement washing over her. In that moment, she understood that their strength lay not just in their actions, but also in their shared vulnerability. They weren't just moving to meet needs, they were becoming vessels of divine light, showing humanity's capacity for love. Their teams formed, each member eager to serve. Clara joined a group heading to the shelter. As they walked, Clara led with a fervent prayer for strength and guidance. Lord, let our hands be yours today. Reaching the shelter, the sight of those gathered welcomed them like an open heart waiting to heal. Clara approached a small gathering near the entrance, where a woman sat on the steps, her face weary and sad. She had a child's drawing in her hand, limp and crumpled, telling tales of dreams once imagined. "Hey there," Clara said softly, kneeling to meet her gaze. "What's your name?" "Anya," the woman murmured, her eyes darting away. Clara felt the heaviness of Anya's silence, punctuated only by the sound of distant laughter from the inside. "Would you like to share your drawing with me?" Clara asked gently, tentatively. Anya held it out. "It's nothing now, just dreams." Clara studied the drawing, a beautiful sun shining above trees, beneath a wispy sky. "This is lovely, Anya. I can see the light you want to share." As she spoke, she saw Anya's eyes spark briefly. "What if we bring some of that light to others?" Anya shrugged, a flicker of hope battling despair. Clara knew the journey was only beginning, but she felt within the depths of her being that they were planting seeds of transformation, filling bags with warm meals, blankets, and essential items. They worked side by side. Each kind act became a prayer in motion. With every packet handed out, Clara felt hope radiate from her, connecting people in the shared purpose of love. As they worked, whispers of laughter and joy began to fill the air, encouraging Clara's heart. Yet, even amidst the joy, she felt a stirring within. A challenge lay ahead. What tests would confront them? Just as Clara began to ponder, a child approached, tugging on her sleeve. "Are you a light bearer?" The question was innocent yet charged with expectation. "Yes, I am," Clara replied, warmth swelling in her heart. "Can you show me how to light up the world like you?" That simple query ignited a fire within Clara. Could she show the child, and everyone around them, how to be lights in the world? She took a moment to gather her thoughts, embracing the uncertainty of the journey ahead. "Together, we can," she exclaimed. "It starts with small acts of love and faith." As they shared a knowing smile, Clara felt the hand of Providence upon her. She realized that the light bearers weren't just reaching out, they were inviting transformation within themselves and the community. What glimmers of faith would emerge when their lights intertwined? What miracles awaited just beyond the horizon, whispering promises of hope? The air thickened with possibility, and Clara knew in her spirit that the adventure had only begun. As Clara embraced the joy of the moment, an unexpected calm surrounded her. The laughter of children echoed, mingling with the deeper resonance of truth, each voice a tiny light reflecting their shared purpose. She felt it in her bones, they were united in a holy mission. Ethan called everyone to gather. "All right, light bearers. We've prepared bags filled with love, but we need to pair them with our voices. As we spread these gifts, let us share our stories, remind others they are not alone." Clara's heart raced. Speaking in front of others always brought a flutter of anxiety, but today felt different. The collective mission anchored her. They were not merely delivering food, they were delivering hope. She grinned, thinking of Anya sitting nearby. "We can be a team." Clara whispered to the child still beside her. "What's your name?" "Lila." The girl beamed, her excitement infectious. "Can I help?" "Absolutely, Lila." Clara squeezed her hand. Together, they took a few bags and ventured toward a small group of mothers chatting on the steps. "Hello," Clara began, her voice steadying with each word. "We're here to share a little love today. May we join you?" As they approached, Clara noticed the tension in the women's faces, the worries etched deeply, like lines on a map of their struggles. One woman raised her tired eyes and nodded, a flicker of curiosity sparking. Clara cleared her throat, feeling warmth fill the space. "We believe that every act of kindness creates ripples of hope. And today, we want to ignite that hope within our community." Handing a bag to Lila, Clara watched as the child leaned forward eagerly, her bright eyes shining. "We brought food and warmth." We care about you. The response was immediate, a softening, like a spring bud breaking through winter's chill. Thank you, one mother spoke, her voice choked with emotion. These days feel dark and heavy. It means a lot that you're here. As Clara exchanged smiles with Lila, she sensed a wave of divine energy flowing through them. The air seemed electric, with shared burdens lifting just a little. In those moments, lifetimes of pain felt like they were momentarily put on hold. But then, from the corner of her eye, Clara noticed Anya approached. The woman's expression held both hesitation and yearning. Can I help too? It broke Clara's heart open wide. Every fiber of her being knew that this was a moment of divine intersection. Of course. She exclaimed, smiling warmly. Encouraging Anya to join them, Clara felt her heart expand with possibility. Could you hand out some meals with us? Lila added innocently, her small hand reaching toward Anya, bridging the gap of fear. Anya looked down at Lila's hand, uncertainty flickering in her eyes. Clara sensed the deep well of hurt within Anya, but also a glimmer of hope. It's simple, Clara spoke gently. All we have to do is be open to showing love. Each gesture matters. The air held its breath as Anya slowly took Lila's hand. Something miraculous thrummed between them, a silent promise of healing taking root. Together, they continued sharing, the atmosphere thick with gratitude. Each smile exchanged felt more than just an interaction, it was a sacred connection, a reminder that the divine was at work amidst them. Yet, as the afternoon sun dipped lower, Clara felt a pull deep within her spirit. A quiet whisper hovered at the edge of her consciousness. What if there's even more for us? What if these acts of kindness are just the beginning? As they prepared to leave the shelter, Clara felt the weight of the world shifting. What awaited deeper within their journey? Could they discover how to transform every heart they touched, igniting a fire of love in their wake? The question lingered in the air like the fading light of the day. Clara smiled, a new urgency blooming within her. She couldn't wait to see what would unfold on this path of divine connection, and she knew the light-bearers were on the cusp of something extraordinary. As the sun dipped lower in the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Clara felt a moment of calm settle over her heart. They had made a difference today. Each small act of kindness had forged a closeness that felt almost tangible. Yet a deep yearning burned within her. What would come next? Clara, look! Jamie called, pulling her from her thoughts. Everyone's gathered around Anya. They hurried over, drawn by an energy that vibrated throughout the crowd. Anya stood at the forefront, flanked by Lila and a few other eager faces. Tears streamed down Anya's cheeks, and a brightness began to sparkle in her eyes, something that had been dormant for far too long. I never thought I could help, she exclaimed, her voice trembling with newfound strength. But being here, with all of you, made me feel free. I want to keep doing this. Clara's heart swelled with joy. Witnessing vulnerability bloom into purpose was like watching flowers spring forth after a long winter. The crowd erupted in cheers, echoes of unity reverberating through the air. Let us keep this momentum going. Jamie urged, fired up by the spirit of transformation. This is our chance to touch even more lives. Absolutely. Clara agreed, her mind racing. We must reach out to others who might feel lost. Perhaps we can create a regular community outreach program. A ripple of excitement surged through the crowd as they began discussing plans, ideas bubbling forth like effervescent joy. Clara felt an electric current of divine inspiration coursing through them, and a peace settled over her heart. This was just the beginning. Yet as they crafted plans for future gatherings, Clara sensed the storm clouds of uncertainty gathering on the horizon. Together, they had made strides, but she remembered those lingering questions: would their strength hold against adversity? Would their faith stand firm in trials yet unseen? The next day dawned rainy, a steady drizzle washing over the village like a cleansing balm. Clara gathered her family once more in their humble home. They looked to her for guidance. Clara knelt in prayer, invoking God to bring clarity to their mission. Lord, give us wisdom and strength. Use us as vessels for your light. She breathed deeply, feeling the weight of those words settle in the quiet around them. As the week went on, the light bearers continued their outreach, transforming their village one heart at a time. Clara felt a dedication in each meeting, a building fervor as stories of struggles and triumphs intertwined, deepening their sense of community. And then the wind shifted one evening, as rows of candles flickered in the chapel. Clara stood before her congregation. "Friends," she began, her heart pounding, "we have experienced such beauty together. But I sense a trial ahead, one that may test the very fabric of our connection. Let us prepare ourselves." Murmurs of concern rippled through the crowd. Jamie stepped forward, radiating confidence. "Whatever we face, we'll do it together. Let's stay anchored in our faith." "Yes." Clara agreed, her spirit ignited by his words. She felt that surge of divine warmth swell within them all. But the lurking doubt still whispered at the back of her mind. Days turned into weeks, and the community continued to grow. So many souls embraced their cause. But as her family moved forward, a dark shadow fell and unexpected tragedy struck their village. A flood swept through one night, devastating homes and leaving families shattered. As the waters receded, Clara looked at the wreckage and felt the pain stab at her heart. "Lord, what do we do now?" But in that moment, when despair threatened to claw at her resolve, the Spirit surged again. "Clara!" Jamie called, his voice vibrant amidst the chaos. "This is our time to shine. Remember our promise, our commitment to serve. This is where we step up." Clara's heart fluttered with renewed determination. "You're right." She gathered the community in the hushed aftermath of despair. "We'll lend our hands and hearts. We cannot let fear and sorrow break our mission, we must be a beacon of hope." With every ounce of love, they began to rebuild. The unity amongst them surged, allowing them to rise up together. Sharing meals, shelter, and comforting companionship, they held each other firm against the storm. As days turned into swift healing, a new revelation took root, a humble awareness that through vulnerability came connection, through gratitude flowed resilience, and through love emerged strength. One afternoon, sitting together to reflect, Clara glanced at her family, her heart full. "This experience has transformed us. Together, we are an unbreakable force of light. It's not merely about spreading hope, it's about how hope has anchored us." In that moment, laughter, tears, and shared struggles intertwined, and a deep understanding settled among them. They had not only emerged from the storm, but in the midst of trial, they had found a greater love, an everlasting faith and abiding light to guide their way. As Clara stood before the stained glass window one last time, she whispered a prayer of gratitude, a surrender to the divine work that had manifested within them. They had weathered storms, yet through it all, the mission had illuminated their path. They were now prepared to venture into the unknown, carrying the torch of hope into a world crying out for light. Clara's heart swelled with conviction. Together, they would forge a new legacy. With explosive joy, she declared, "Let us be the light bearers in every corner of our world, seeking and serving wherever love calls." With faith ignited and hearts inflamed, the villagers stepped boldly into their future, ready for whatever challenges awaited them, armed with the knowledge that together, they could shine brightly in the heart of darkness. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories that will change your life. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread this divine message. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this powerful ending below. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of hope. You need to act now. Don't wait even one more second to support our mission. Only true servants of God understand the importance of spreading the light.